Hello, guys, and welcome to our channel Cricket Caviar. And today, apart from the regular members like Pratik and Shans Bhai, we also have Gaurav. He has been with our show before also. And
All MITians in the house today.
no, Gaurav is not from my college friend. Actually, we met on Facebook and we have been following cricket. Uh, so he actually follows since much longer than me. So 94, 96. I often hear him in his Facebook posts, talking
I
about those
literally thought
matches.
Gaurav bhi हमारे college गया था because I remember you have shared his post a lot of time. I remember he
Yeah, I
writes
do
really
share
well,
his
like
posts
summaries.
lot of time, and his love towards Sachin and
Yeah.
Dhoni, and his unusual dislike of Dada is also quite
Yeah,
famous
Gaurav,
actually.
indirectly I've read lot of your posts.
Yeah. So Gaurav, only questions that I want to ask. You have seen Indian cricket in very low phases, right? You must have seen the 90s decade where we lost lot of matches. We were like underdogs in that era. But is this phase of Indian cricket more disappointing to you, where we are not underdogs, but we are still losing, and we don't even have a single batsman, who can stand up. At least in 90s we had Sachin or Azhar, playing some good knocks. But what do you think this phase, last 5 years of Indian cricket, is despite the series win in Australia, and that's a big series win. And do you still feel this is one of the lowest phase of Indian cricket?
Well, you have to see the context actually. In the 90s, what used to happen that the expectations were low. The many people I know they used to switch off once Sachin Tendulkar got out, knowing that India won't make it. The problem is these days, I think the expectation have quite high. Since India has become a very powerful cricketing nation compared to the 90s. So the disappointment is more. It may give you the feel that this is the lowest pace. I don't think so. This is the lowest, but the thing is that it's definitely disappointing. What used to happen in the 90s that there used to be a lot of triangular tournaments and say Asia Cups and a lot of series in Sharjah and elsewhere. So under Azhar, I think we won quite a lot of them. So the disappointment, which whatever it was there, is to vanish after winning one of those triangulars or quadrangulars in that era. So this time, this era, what happens is that there are no more triangulars or multinational tournaments apart from the ICC events or the Asian Cricket Council events. So the disappointment multiplies many folds of not winning a ICC event for more than 10 years now. So that is what actually the causing the problem in the public psyche. But definitely, I mean, in the 90s, especially in the early part of the 90s, there was only Tendulkar, and there are some heroics from Azhar here and there. And apart from that, the batting looked quite fragile. Till Dravid, Ganguly, Lakshman, and etc. came post 1996. So what worries me that the next generation is not making it. Because the last 3 years, all Pujara, Rahane, and Kohli all average around 28 or 29, around that in Test cricket. And there is no young player you can convincingly say that yeah, they can replace these guys who are serving in the cricket for the last decade or so. That is the big worry for me.
So
Do you also think that in the larger tournaments, which ICC tournaments which we play, uh, the way we are losing, especially the crunch games, that is also very disappointing. So that
Yeah.
somehow, as Indian cricket, matlab very large-hearted fans, the lack of fight in those critical moments और जो surrender हो जाता है So, for example, in T20 World Cup semi-final, we lost by 10 wickets. Even this time, WTC again, there was no fight on the last day itself where the pitch was best. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what are your views. Is it because of some lack of commitment or lack of playing, or there has been a sense of achievement already? Because even after the post-match events, whatever we hear is all the matlab, we have been tired of hearing the same things again and again. It was only during MS Dhoni times where ultimately he used to own up the mistakes. But now even the mistakes are not owned, and the way in which we are losing, that is hurting the most to the Indian fans, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll blame the timid approach. If you remember correctly, during the 2007 T20 World Cup, which we won, we sent a very young side because the Dravid and the Tendulkar refused to go for the inaugural T20 World Cup. So we had to send a very young side, captained by very young MS Dhoni. But I remember one line from the commentary box, which Ian Chappell said that India is playing the brand of cricket to the personality of the captain. They are being fearless. If you remember 2007 T20 World Cup, there were many matches in which India were in trouble, early trouble. Be it the Pakistan match in the group stage, which we won by the bowl out, or maybe the South Africa match, even the Australia match in the semi-final. But what happened that we are being fearless. Somehow this team gives me the feeling they're a bit cagey, they're a bit afraid of losing. So I don't think because we haven't won anything in the last 10 years, I think there's no point of having that fear of loss because we can the worst that can happen that we lose the match. But anyway, we are losing that for 10 years or so. So we need to be fearless. If you remember the Adelaide game in the last T20 World Cup semi-final in a crunch game, India are very much cagey, and some of the tactics also were baffling because if I remember correctly, that Rishabh Pant was chosen ahead of Dinesh Karthik in that game. And before that match, Rishabh already played the Zimbabwe game in the last group stage match. And the reason that Rishabh played that match was to tackle Adil Rashid middle over phase because of the short square boundaries in the Adelaide Oval, and being a left-handed, it would have been easier for him to tackle Adil Rashid. But somehow what happened that day, Sky was sent ahead of Pant, and he got out. And when Rishabh Pant came, Adil Rashid's over were finished, and so was Liam Livingstone's. So what happened during that 7 over period, India could only manage 40 odd runs. And that was the difference. That Adelaide Oval needed a 200-run score on the board.
Yeah,
If you
Virat was also 28 of
that
28.
200 mark, and India only could master 168 only because of the late blitzkrieg by Hardik Pandya. Without that, India wouldn't have made 150 even because they're so cagey and so worried about what's going to happen. That me, for me, that has to be changed in
Gaur-
future if you want to
Gaurav,
win the big
uh,
contest.
coming to this WTC final, so obviously we know कि कैसे पहुंचा India final में, how India reached by making turning tracks, and this is the second time. This is not just first time. Even the last WTC final, we did the same against England. We made rank turners. पहले भी होते थे rank turners. It's not new, but the amount of turn from ball one, that was not there earlier. When Harbhajan Singh and Anil Kumble used to play, maybe it did not turn from ball one. Now we made pitches like that turn from ball one, and we somehow, because of Ashwin and Jadeja, we keep on winning matches, and then somehow we reach the final of WTC, and there our batsmen who come without any confidence, from having not scored any runs in the past. uh, I don't know. We just look so, the batsmen, they don't look like world class players. I feel somehow if we promote some domestic batsmen also there, he would look more confident than these batsmen. They are so afraid of, especially I felt Pujara was so confused. He was such a great batsman in 2010 to 2018 era, and suddenly he looked so out of sorts. I think Australia ke series mein Rohit Sharma asked Ishan Kishan to tell him to go and play aggressively, and he started playing aggressively, and he looked very confused. What my approach should be, and he played the most out of character shot. Actually, in the WTC final, I have never ever seen Pujara play an uppercut. How do you explain these kind of things that happen? What is your take on
I
it?
think it actually shows how confused the team management is. The Rahul Dravid and the Rohit Sharmas, they are to be blamed because of it's showing that the role is not defined properly to the players. What their role is. Someone Pujara played that horrendous shot. That was a horrendous shot from Pujara. The way he got out in the second innings of the WTC final. So it shows that the role is not defined. Everybody is not going to play like a baseball. You see, everybody has a different role. If I remember correctly, during that triumphant Australia series in 2021, Pujara may not have got 200, but he played some crucial knocks both in Sydney and in Brisbane. He held the one end up, and other end Rishabh Pant could go on into attack mode. So the role needs to be defined. That this player can play in this mode, that player can play in that mode. So though the roles are, I think the team management itself is confused. If you look at the team composition also, the team selection in the WTC final. Had I been the selector, I'd have definitely gone with Jaydev Unadkat instead of Umesh Yadav. I can understand the logic behind the omission of Ravichandran Ashwin. I can see the logic because they were actually aiming to bowl first on a responsive surface. It seemed on the first day, so they were aiming to bowl first. If you are bowling first, then you need to have that backup seaming option. You don't need the second spinner. But if India had gone with having the mindset of batting first, then I can understand Ashwin being in the 11. But having said that, we have seen Umesh Yadav for a long time. It's not that he is a newbie in the park. In this 10, 12, 13-year period, Umesh Yadav's overseas record is not impressive. He's a very good bowler in Indian condition. The ball keeps low. In his speedy nature, the reverse swing helps him getting wickets here. But in the overseas conditions, the style of bowling that Umesh has is difficult to fetch wickets.
I would
So
even
I
say
could
same for Shami also, Gaurav, because Shami also there are a lot of play and misses. Lot of balls going just over the stumps, just beside the stumps, just
Shami's record in England is very poor. His average is close to
yeah.
40 per wicket, and probably the reason is that the length that Shami hits is a bit shorter for the English condition. Had he gone a meter or so fuller, he would have got more wickets in English conditions.
Definitely.
The prime example is Ishant Sharma in earlier days. Ishant Sharma used to bowl magical spells, yet not getting wickets that he deserved. So what happened in the last 5-6 years? Ishant Sharma's length changed. He went a bit fuller. Once he got a bit fuller, if you see Ishant's record in the last 5-6 years, he's been terrific, absolutely terrific in Indian colours. So that is the problem Ishant had during early part of his career. The second half of his career, he changed that length to get a bit fuller, a meter or so fuller, and he faced him rewards. The same with Shami in England. I think Shami is a terrific bowler, but much better than Umesh Yadav, definitely. But then the matter is that he tends to bowl a bit shorter on English conditions. I think he needs to get a meter or so full. If he goes a meter or so full, I think he'll get more wickets.
I think एक out and out swing bowler भी होना था who can move the ball both
Yeah.
ways. You guys will argue that Deepak Chahar and Bhuvneshwar both doesn't have good fitness, But I think we needed a swing bowler like that in England.
Yeah.
I think
Gaurav.
that's why I thought that Unadkat should have played the WTC final
Mm.
because I've seen him bowling here in Eden Gardens during the Ranji Trophy final against Bengal.
Mm.
He swung the ball very well, and also even if he doesn't get a wicket, he can keep the check on run rate also. He has this
Mm.
control. Umesh doesn't have that control. Once
Yeah.
he have a bad form, he goes for four and 4.5 runs per over. That is the problem. I think Unadkat could have given that India that needed control in the bowling.
I
If you
think
see that
Gaurav,
match, they were 76 for 3.
I think a little bit of a point with little bit of humor. I think Umesh Yadav was played as the ninth batter because who has been saving us throughout this WTC cycle. It's been number 7, 8, 9.
Even with that, I think Unadkat is a much better batsman than Umesh Yadav.
Yeah, true.
Gaurav, do you have anyone?
I can understand the omission of Unadkat in, say, in Australian condition or in a fast bouncy condition because he doesn't have the pace to trouble the batsman in those conditions. But in English condition, Unadkat could have been a handy bait for India.
Vishnu, you were saying something.
But don't you think India lost the match majorly in batting because of in both the innings they were
India lost the match in the first day itself when Australia were 326
Yeah.
for 3. India
Correct.
lost the match there and there because it was not a 469 track. Had they restricted them to 350 or so, batting actually India's problem. It's been India's Achilles heel for the last 4-5 years. And we're seeing that, I mean, for a generation, it's very hard to understand, like us, because we have grown up in an era where India used to have bowlers like Abe Kuruvilla, Doda Ganesh, and all growing up. Harvinder Singh, Devashish Mohanty, and with that, India always used to have a very good batting lineup. And somehow, what happened that during a phase when Bumrah, Shami, and Ishant were going with great gun, India's problem was India's batting. India in this last 5-6 years, India had a very good bowling record, but India's batting has always been Achilles heel. This Pujara and Rahane, and I don't understand. Rahane was dropped. Then suddenly he made a comeback in the WTC final, and suddenly after 18 months of getting dropped, he becomes a vice captain. I just
Jadeja could have been a better choice.
Huh?
Jadeja could have been a better choice. He has been consistent in the test side.
I mean, sorry to say, I don't want to demean anyone, but Rahane played, I think, 87 or 86 test matches for India and still average at barely 40. No, not even 40, so average at 38.
30s, late 30s.
It was abysmal. I mean, probably one of the worst to play bat for India in the number 5 position. With batting average of 38 after having 86 test matches in your kitty. I mean, this is utter rubbish, I think. He's a very lucky guy because, see, he doesn't have any tattoos. He's a very good gentleman like his coach Rahul Dravid. But what will I do with the gentleman cricketer? I don't have any unmarried daughter to get her married to that gentleman guy. I'll prefer that, but not in cricket field. I need person who can deliver the results, not a gentleman or very.
Gaurav, do you think our selectors smoke something before going to selection meetings?
That's what I hear about Rahul Dravid also. बहुत शरीफ बंदा है भाई, बहुत जेंटलमैन आदमी है, लाइन पे खड़ा होता है वो स्कूल जाके, कोई वीआईपी टेंटम्स नहीं है, टैटूज नहीं है उसके पास, बहुत शरीफ बंदा है। बल्कि शरीफ बंदे का क्या करूं, मेरा बेटी तो नहीं है कि शादी करा दूं। हाँ अभी
भाई टैटू से के भी
हमको तो
कुछ नहीं
रिजल्ट
उखाड़
चाहिए
रहा है
ना,
केएल
I
राहुल।
need result. So on cricket field you need tough people. He may not be a gentleman like Rahul Dravid. ऐसे मतलब शराब पी के भी अगर कुछ अनाप शराब शास्त्री बोल देता था फिर भी चलता है. Pardon my Hindi, but the problem is that you need tough taskmasters there. Ravi was one of them. I mean, certainly Ravi Shastri was India's one of the pioneers of changing the red ball fortune of Indian cricket, especially in the overseas. And also to mention Bharat Arun, his contribution has been immense. Look at what happened when Bharat Arun went away. They got Paras Mamre as a bowling coach. Look at India's bowling prowess in the last 2 years. India lost 2 test matches in South Africa while defending around 240 or so. and on spicy conditions, once in Cape Town and once in Johannesburg. Two of those tracks, 10 out of 9 times you should win, depending on that sort of target. India lost a test match to England defending 384. People told that India should have got the lead around 450. Even with 384, India should have won that test match. Bumrah was terrible that test match. So was Shami, so was other bowlers. So my problem is that something is going wrong with the persons who are in charge of the management.
Yeah, we
And
definitely
second
miss
concern,
Bharat and
rightly-
Shastri now that they're not there.
Yeah, and one thing you rightly said, what about the roles being given to individuals? So in the MS Dhoni style of leadership, even in this year CSK's triumph, he made Shivam Dube a hero. In across the IPL, he played well. Guys like Tushar Deshpande and another guy, I don't know what bowler
Ajinkya Rahane.
played. मतलब Ajinkya Rahane again. So, मतलब
No,
at least
actually
roles
what
were
Dilip
clear.
Venkatara said is absolutely correct. Dilip Venkatara said that this selectors doesn't have any vision for future.
Vision.
I think Dilip Venkatara lost his job as chairman of selector. Why? Because he selected a certain Virat Kohli over Subramaniam Badrinath in 2008. That's why he lost his job, because Srinivasan era was going on, and then you cannot hackle Mr. Srinivasan in that era. So somehow Venkataka lost his job because he selected Virat Kohli over Subramaniam Badrinath. And look at what happened. You need to have a vision for a player. You need to have a vision who can deliver you for future. During that Ganguly and John Wright era, we had Sehwag, we had Zahir Khans, and we had Ashish Nehras and all those. Because once you identify a talent, you need to back him to the fullest. You need to give him a fearless attitude that, see, I'm
यहाँ
going to give
संजू
you 10
सैमसन
or
को
15
एक मैच मिलता है, फिर 2 साल बाद एक मैच मिलता है.
नहीं Gaurav, tell me one thing. Do you see anyone, any bowlers in our Ranjis who can play for India in future, like for long time? Do you see any fast bowlers?
Fast bowler, see, very difficult answer to.
Because everyone is
we
playing
will
T20 only. I can't see anyone.
Fast bowlers. I tell you a situation when during the 2008 or 9 or 2010, 11, during that period of time when Harbhajan was going well for India, we knew that we had a backup like Ravichandran Ashwin who was taking wickets for Tamil Nadu in the Ranji matches. What worries me that there are absolutely no spinners in the domestic circuit. Leave alone the fast bowlers who will go to win you matches on Indian soil. Because after say 4-5 years, there will be no Ashwin, no Jadeja. Say after 4-5 years, there will be no Ashwin, no Jadeja. So who will going to win you matches on Indian soil? There are absolutely no backup spinners also.
We might become like Pakistan, who have completely lost their
There is
spin.
Gaurav. There is
yeah.
one. This guy, na Saurabh Kumar, is there. I think he's been taking lot of
But
wickets.
Shikhar,
I
the thing is,
like that guy from Tamil Nadu. I don't know. He somehow faded. That,
Sai Kishore. Sai Kishore.
Sai Kishore. He was pretty good when I saw him, but then he bit a kind of a faded away in the last year or so.
Yeah, look what
not
happened to
up to mark.
Pakistan after Saeed Ajmal. They could not find a top quality spinner, but they've always had one spinner until Saeed Ajmal. So,
So
I mean,
that's what
Yasir Shah is
I'm saying.
average.
They're going to find a spinner for one day. They're going to find a spinner for one day anyway. They say, see Pakistan, what's going happening with Pakistan? They have a Shadab, who is a very good one-day bowler.
Yeah.
But the problem is the test match cricket, you need a different set of skills to dismiss a
Yeah.
batsman. And Ashwin, and that also worries me because Ashwin, for me, is a better off spinner than Harbhajan Singh. And yet, I don't know why he needs those turners, rank turners, to get wickets. Because I think he has much more better skills than Harbhajan Singh in his prime. Yet
Carom
he needs
ball and so many other things.
rank turners. It's not helping anyone. It's not helping the Indian batsman as well. Because we are having a 2 and a 2.5 day test matches where the fast bowler barely bowls 4-5 overs in the match. Rest of the time it's taken by the spinners, and also the team gets bowled out within 50-60 overs. So you don't have the patience or the stamina to bowl 100 overs or 110 overs when required. So that becomes a problem everywhere, in the bowling department as well as the batting department. I think during the 90s or even 2000s, we used to have test matches on Indian soil, which were very good for batting for the first 2-3 days. Then suddenly match took a topsy-turvy turn. And then the 5 day onwards of day 5, the match situation changed very quickly. I remember a test match in Bangalore, I think probably against Australia. I think both of them scored, I think 400. And yet India won the test match later
Yeah,
on.
we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, because I mean the situation tends to change a lot quickly on subcontinent conditions during day 4 and day 5. That should be the ideal kind of attack, but because of the WTC point scenario, the team wants to win at any cost, and that is doing more harm than good. Actually, you
Yeah,
may
sometimes
qualify
I
for the
agree with
WTC
English
final.
media when they criticize like ball is turning before lunch. Like that is too much. Viciously turning before lunch. Yeah.
Forget about lunch. I saw that Indore test match. The ball
Ball
turned from the
one.
first ball.
Ball one, man.
First ball
Seriously.
one.
And it was
Very
a square.
disappointing.
I mean, how could no disrespect to anyone, but a Kuhneman-like spinner, Kuhneman, a kind of a spinner like Kuhneman you can find in gullies of India and Pakistan. And that bro comes up with the fifer. Joe Root got a fifer here. I have no disrespect to Joe Root's bowling, but I mean, Joe Root taking a fifer in Ahmedabad, that was a shocker of a pitch. And I mean, it's problematic. It's problematic. I don't mind the kind of pitch India dished out Australia in the Nagpur Test match when Rohit Sharma got that 100, magnificent 100, because
That
it
was
was
a good
kind of an
pitch.
Indian. It was Indian kind of a track. I don't have any issues there because Australia batted poorly. That is a different issue. The test match got over within 4 days. But the rest of the pitches, Delhi pitch was very poor. So was Indore. So it actually, I mean, it bothers me.
And the
because
poorest
in a
was
long
Ahmedabad. Poorest was Ahmedabad.
poorest
Then
for
suddenly
actually
Ahmedabad
Ahmedabad
came from the other end of the spectrum. Yeah.
Right. So, ठीक है, Gaurav, you know, fair, मतलब कि, but do you think one you mentioned is timidness, like in big moments we are timid. Second thing is our batsmen don't have confidence. Our selectors are totally high when they go to selection meetings, you know. But do you
also
think
look at the fitness of our captain. Because Rohit Sharma gives me feeling that I am feeling in the cover because he has this tummy coming out like I have.
And
And
Sarfaraz,
I am a very humble
shockingly, Sarfaraz Khan, after averaging 18 Ranji cricket, he's been told to improve his fitness. I am so surprised by that. He's averaging 18 Ranji cricket, and you tell him to improve fitness and attitude on and off the field. भाई off the
And
field
कैप्टन
attitude
को
से
बुरा
तुम
ही नहीं
क्या
लगता
करोगे?
जब इंडिया बाहर हो
तुमको
जाती है
क्या
तो
करना है
सिर्फ
off the
फैंस
field
ही
attitude से? भाई तुम्हारा
only fans are crying. Captain is just happy with his IPL record.
Yeah.
एक्चुअली मेरे को फीलिंग लगता है जब रोहित शर्मा कवर में फील्डिंग कर रहा है लगता है कि मैं खुद फील्डिंग कर रहा हूँ पेट इतना बाहर निकल के आ चुका है ना उसका भी मेरे तरह तो gives me the feeling that I am fielding in the cover area. So that is but on a positive note I can say that India found a guy. I think if he keeps his head right and keeps his keeps his discipline, in the long run he may become a legend. That is Yashasvi Jaiswal. I have a lot of hope from that guy. He's a terrific young talent. In the coming 10-12 years, he will serve Indian cricket a lot. If he keeps his head high. We know how Prithvi Shaw disappeared.
No, Yashasvi Jaiswal also was sledging someone and Ajinkya Rahane sent him out of the ground.
Yeah, that was the
There was
day
an
of game
incident like
in
that.
Mumbai. Yeah.
What
That's
is
why I'm
happening
saying
with what is happening with Prithvi Shaw remembers ना कामली वाला इंसिडेंट हो रहा है एक्चुअली में
Vinod Kambli.
हाँ विनोद कामली भी वैसे ही गंजा रहता था एंड पृथ्वी शॉ आल्सो इज लाइक
गंजा
सेम
रहने
ओनली
से क्या
एंड दोनों की शक्ल भी सेम दिखती है और दोनों का मतलब हश्र भी सेम ही हो रहा है मतलब कोई भी केस कर रहा है फोटो खिंचाने पे लड़ाई हो गई ये हो गया वो हो गया और उस टाइम भी 2 प्लेयर्स आए थे सचिन और कामली इस बार आए शुभमन गिल और पृथ्वी शॉ गिल is slowly uh, making his feet strong, or Prithvi Shaw is, jabki talent wise Prithvi Shaw was greater than Gill.
I have a question here to all the panelists here. That what is Rahul Dravid's role as a coach? Because since under 19 days, the Shubman Gills and the Prithvi Shaws were all under him during their under 19 days. What Rahul Dravid did to improve their technique? If you see correctly, that Prithvi Shaw has a huge gap between his pad and bat. His bat comes from gully area. His back leg goes towards square leg while facing the bowler. This is a technical error which he has during his under 19 days, and still it's persisting. Also, Shubman Gills have this problem with incoming deliveries. And how many cricketers from Dravid's, I think I've heard that Dravid done a great job as an India A or India under 19 coach. How many of those cricketers graduated from that level to international level under Dravid's mentorship? And this is I mean, Dravid may be a very good cricketer in his days, but for me, I think he's not a right person for the job here.
Yeah, we talk lot about the management, and we always say that this management is not right. Like even with when in the WTC final, when Smith and Head were batting, there is no thinking or no analysis done how we need to take uh, uh, wickets and nothing. There is no planning. I don't know what he has done while IPL was going on. He didn't do any planning, nothing. I think he treats as a government job 9 to 5 kaam karo and ghar jao. That's it. Doesn't there is no importance, man.
And in the T20 World Cup also, when there were so much of focus on matchups, India were obsessed with matchups. Like he said, Rishabh Pant was played to counter Adil Rashid. तब भी उसको you didn't commit to that fully. And which matchups के चक्कर में we actually changed our batting order so much. We tried so many different players unnecessarily.
And we didn't
Till Asia Cup,
play
a different
well.
squad was playing. Till Asia Cup,
Yeah.
a
And we
different
didn't-
squad was playing. And after Asia Cup, you suddenly bring KL Rahul is fit. And also the ability to convince players like KL Rahul. If Rohit Sharma says कि I want to play aggressive cricket, as a captain I want to play aggressive cricket, we didn't see the support to that philosophy at all. मतलब कि KL Rahul is playing maiden first over in T20 World Cup. Okay, how can भाई ये T20 है, तुम उसको 19 ओवर्स का मैच बना दे रहे हो पहले ही ओवर में मिडन खेल के. ठीक है, एक रन जहाँ पे इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Sorry to interrupt you. I saw this meme on internet that Sunil Shetty is saying to Atia that इससे अच्छा तो रिंकू सिंह से शादी कर लेती.
नहीं श्रेयांश भाई, you were saying
नहीं,
something.
या मैं कह रहा था वर्ल्ड कप में बिकॉज ऑफ दिस मैचअप्स जो इंडिया का सबसे सक्सेसफुल लेग स्पिनर है चहल, उसको आप एक भी मैच नहीं खिला रहे हो, स्क्वाड में लेकर गए हो, मतलब
Right.
जबकि
We
बड़े
talked
ग्राउंड में नहीं
about
खिलाया.
that, man.
और T20 वर्ल्ड कप में भी ना, मतलब बातें अलग है, बट रियलिटी तो यही है कि जो भी इंडिया मैच जीती, जो 3 मैच जीती अपार्ट फ्रॉम द कोहली ब्लिट्जक्रिग, उसके अलावा जो 3 मैच जीती है उसमें सब में लास्ट में सूर्य यादव ने 25 पे 50, 20 पे 50 ऐसे मारे, तब जाके 180 के अराउंड पहुंचे थे. अदरवाइज
और मिनोज को ही हराया अपने बड़े टीम्स को, तो आपने सिर्फ पाकिस्तान को हराया.
You leave the Holland game out, you leave the other Mino game
Zimbabwe.
out, Zimbabwe, and you see we are destined to lose against Bangladesh.
Yeah.
With the
The
return,
rain would be
return
Oh,
match,
we
they are
actually were.
brighter for now.
Yeah.
And actually, after that rain break, that freakish run out of return happened, and after that, Bangladesh actually pressed the self-destruct button, and the Bangladesh somehow panicked and lost that match. It was Bangladesh's match to lose. They were in the contention even in the end when Taskin hit a few blows. So Bangladesh match you were lucky. Pakistan match you won because of a Virat Kohli masterclass. And apart from that, you lost the South Africa game. So whenever you have come up with the quality opposition, you have failed most of the time. So that is a worry. But I guess I think India will be there in the World Cup semi-final once again.
Yeah, Gaurav. I was coming to that point. So I want to know from you now, October 5, World Cup starts. 15th October, 8th October, we have India versus Australia at Chennai. 15th October, we have India Pakistan at Ahmedabad. What
Only
is
3 months left.
3 months left? What do you see as top 4, and what do you think India needs to do to win this cup, to have a
See,
chance?
first of all, I think India they put quite a lot of brain in deciding the venues in which they are playing which team, because playing England at Lucknow is a very good thing, because ball is going to stop and turn, and such kind of wicket going to put England in more trouble than on a different pitch elsewhere in the country. Playing Australia and Chennai could be tricky, because Australia have a very good decent spin attack in Zampa and Agar. So that could be tricky. In fact, we lost against Australia and Chennai in the last bilateral third one day. But bilateral doesn't mean a lot to me. But I think India will know how much threat Zampa and Agar are going to possess. Pakistan, Ahmedabad is going to be a run face, and Shubman Gill becomes a Bradman of Ahmedabad. Whenever he bats at Ahmedabad, he scores huge runs. So that's going to be a battle of who hits more sixes and fours in Ahmedabad. Pune against Bangladesh should be easy, because Pune is also a very a road kind of a track. So Bangladesh is not a team which can triumph you once you are in a 350 or 370 game, or that kind of a game. Bangladesh is not that much threat. They are more threat if you are having a 270, 280 match kind of a match. Afghanistan and Delhi can be tricky, but then Afghanistan's batting is the problem. In the long run, they have a more than decent bowling attack in Noor, Rashid, and Mujib.
Surya might smash a
Then
century.
the two qualifiers, I think Sri Lanka and Mumbai, probably. Q2 is Sri Lanka, so they're going to play Mumbai, Wankhede. I think Sri Lanka at Wankhede should be easy for India. Then the Zimbabwe, I think they're playing in Bangalore. I think
Zimbabwe at
Zimbabwe
Bangalore. I think Raza and Williams can shock India there.
can do problem, but then I think Bangalore, na? So short boundaries, flat decks, lot of sixes. So I think Bangalore and Mumbai, two qualifiers, Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka should be easy. South Africa at Kolkata, it can be tricky. I don't know what kind of a surface Eden Gardens we're going to have, because if a traditional Eden Gardens surface being served, then Norkie and Rabada are going to get a bit difficult for you to handle. But I don't think in the World Cup matches that's going to happen. It will be a road kind of attack. In that case, that scenario, I think India will be the favorites.
Okay, Gaurav, we have less than 1 minute. So what is your top 4? What is your top
My
4?
top four is England, Australia, India, and Pakistan.
Yeah, same top 4. Yeah.
England,
Yeah.
Australia, India, and Pakistan. Okay.
New Zealand, South Africa will miss out this time.
Yeah.
New Zealand don't have Williamson. No, so that's
Yeah,
He
a
might be
huge
fit, Gaurav.
He might
They
be
are
fit.
saying that he will be.
He has more
mostly.
chance than Bumrah.
Yeah.
Shreyans and Shikhar, your
He
top
is.
4?
Bumrah is going to make a comeback during Ireland T20. So I